Hello everyone, I'm Lamberto. I'm an online hospitality expert. I've been working for more than 20 years in B2B and B2C company, and together with my friend and business partner Ivano, that is a IT solution architect, and other two guys, Stefano, that is a business developer, Andrea, a revenue manager, we created BuyBack. Let's see what are the market needs, okay? Actually, over 5 billion of not refundable booking in the travel sector remain unused. There are over 5 billion of not refundable bookings that are made worldwide in the travel sector. And a lot of them, 2–4%, are not used. What happened, actually? The said guest loses the full amount paid for the product, and the travel provider actually remain frustrated because cannot resell the product, incurring in a loss of potential new revenue. Let's do an example. I book a Ryanair flight today to go on this Christmas time in London, and next week I realize I cannot use it, so I'm losing the full amount of the reservation, and the day the flight is leaving, actually the flight is leaving with an unused seat. BuyBack actually was born exactly for this, to solve this specific but very concrete and common issue of the travel market. BuyBack, of course, is integrating Camino network blockchain and empower guests on one hand that are unable to use the reservation to resell it back to the travel provider. On the other hand, the travel provider regain possession of the asset and can resell it again to the market, thus generating a double earning from a single asset. The benefit for the guest, of course, to recover part of the booking value, otherwise fully lost, and for the travel provider to generate revenue twice. Let's look at this graphic because it's very important to understand the logic of BuyBack. Here is the first booking date, okay? Let's see the asset cost to the guest, 100 euro. Then the guest realizes that he cannot use the asset. So on the 28th of May, he put on resell the asset in BuyBack. The travel provider, through an algorithm, analyze if it is worthy or not worthy to do an offer to the client, and if it's worthy, he does an offer to the client in order to buy back the asset, okay? Then he has, the travel provider, from the 28th of May till the 15th of August, that is the service days, a time to resell the asset. Here, what is very important is that, as you can see, the line of the price is growing. It's quite common, according with revenue management strategy, that while the occupancy is raising, also the price is raising. So, the travel provider, without BuyBack, should have got a revenue of 100 euro, okay? Thanks to BuyBack and the double earning, the additional revenue, thanks to BuyBack, is 110 euro more. And the total revenue generated by the reservation, thanks to BuyBack, is 210 euro, okay? Also consider that even in a scenario where the price is not raising, okay, the travel provider actually would still have a double profit. Okay, this is marginal, but also an additional benefit for the travel provider because the happy, of course, is guest, and it's going to gain the customer loyalty. What are the business rules for BuyBack? First of all, there is a strategy need that is that the travel provider is applying a revenue management concept. So raising the occupancy is raising the pricing, but actually the most of the hotels in hospitality, the airlines, they apply this this strategic model. There is a product need that actually the asset should be not refundable. Also could apply also for flexible bookings where there is a quite large period expected by the cancellation policy. So actually, I don't know, if I cancel the booking within 2 weeks before the arrival, I have a 100% penalty on the full reservation. And then the market need that is actually to have a forecast of occupancy of 100%. It's not the occupancy, it's a forecast, okay? Because the client put on resell the asset before the use date of the asset, okay? So it's very important to be able to calculate the forecast of the occupancy. Okay, how does BuyBack work? I will explain very quickly. The guest is somehow informed about this opportunity to be able to sell back the asset. Okay, when he decides to not use the asset, he does the signing into BuyBack platform. Okay, actually, it is fully embedded in the travel provider environment. BuyBack is integrated with the travel provider CRS or PMS, whatever they use, in order to retrieve the data of the reservation and the client. Then when the guest put on resell the asset, BuyBack has an algorithm behind, and then we will see that that calculate two things actually: if it is worthy or not for the travel provider to do an offer, and the second one is what is the price of the offer. Okay, so at the moment the guest put on resale the asset, an FAT is generated into the guest wallet. Actually the guest is unaware about the wallet at this moment. Okay, and when the guest accept the offer of the travel provider, the NFT goes from the custodial wallet of the guest to the custodial wallet of the travel provider. At this moment also it starts the payment back. The travel provider with the regain NFT, what can do? It could, of course, put on, to resell it again to the traditional channels, or also using BuyBack as a switch to sell it again to Camino through Camino messaging in the Camino network. But also consider that not just that NFT could be resold, but also the full inventory of the travel provider. There are two types of guests that can use BuyBack. The first one is the normal end user, okay? In this case, it's very interesting because we all know about the different logic of the commercial flow, so the B2C, the B2B, the B2B2C, the C2C. Actually, as far as I know, this should be the first case of a customer to business flow model of the flow, okay? They already exist other C2C marketplaces, okay, where some not refundable assets are put on resell on the market, but they are put on resell to another customer. So actually the travel provider is not getting any benefit. Then there is a second line of guest use, okay, but in this case this is the new slide, okay, we added. In this case are companies. Imagine, for instance, Volkswagen, okay, they have a lot of technicians, they have a lot of commercial flying or traveling during the year, and the unused ratio of reservation for the business travel actually is the higher in the market, okay? Because they change the plan, they don't care a lot about the loss of the money, but for the company, yes, of course, it's very important, the loss of the money, okay, because the travel expenses voice is very important for the company. So actually imagine that the company, Volkswagen, open a direct line of communication with Ryanair to so that when the employee that is not going to use the asset say to the travel office, look, I'm not going to use the reservation, the travel office informs through BuyBack Ryanair that reservation is gonna not used to be used, and the travel provider can, following the same logic, decide to do an offer or not to the company. BuyBack is not just a process innovation, but also as a technological core behind that actually is an algorithm. We created an algorithm, I would say default algorithm for the hospitality sector, but also consider that any algorithm could be plugged into BuyBack, because of course maybe a company has its own algorithm and they can plug it into BuyBack. We can apply a logic also of option or buy to BuyBack. Imagine that the merchant is not fully sure about the 100% of occupancy in terms of forecast. So in that case, he can decide to work to control 100% of the risk associated with the repurchase. And also through a machine learning process, actually it allowed the system to learn from all the data and all the generated offers that during the time will be launched. As BuyBack, of course, we are a supporter of Chain for Travel. We have our own node validator. And of course, here, how does BuyBack take advantage from Camino? So, of course, from one side, the entity that is representing the reservation is transferred from the guest custodial wallet to the travel provider wallet, and also through the Camino Messenger. Actually, maybe this is more for the future, the travel provider can sell to Web3 as an additional channel all the full inventory of his asset. Actually, a lot of travel verticals can get benefit from BuyBack. I mean, all the hospitality sector, independent hotels or hotel chains, airline companies, low cost or traditional airline companies, cruises, for instance, that they work with very high occupancy rates, trains, ferries, etc., but also intermediaries. Because imagine that Booking.com and Expedia, all these guys, a TUI, they have the direct contact with the client. They are the ones to collect, to collect the payment reservation, and they know the pressure demand. Finished. Sorry. There is also a vision for the future, okay? The vision for the future is to be able to tackle not only the not refundable rate, but also the flexible rates, okay? So covering the full picture of the travel. In that case, this is an idea that comes from Luca and Pablo. Actually, in this case, also it is important that it is applied the revenue strategy logic, okay? If the guest cancel his flex reservation, the travel provider at the moment propose him as alternative to the cancellation a voucher for the same amount of the reservation, because you have to consider that maybe that reservation has been done when the price was low, okay? So the travel provider has the opportunity to have a double earning also over there. More an extra cashback to be redeemed in the Camino network ecosystem for future reservation, also for other travel services. That's it.
Grazie, Lamberto. Do we have any questions from the non-jury? Mike. This one. This one. This one.
Yeah, thank you for that great presentation. Have you managed to get any travel providers engaged in this yet? Has anyone said, yes, we'll develop this with you?
So far we have talked with many travel provider stakeholders, okay,
Yes.
imagine RMS companies, hotels, etc., reselling companies, and all of them, they like a lot the concept, of course. The idea is in the next queue to do the first pilot beta test with an hotel close to Malpensa Airport that we consider could be a very good test because over there you have very high occupancy rates and also a lot of not refundable because when you book an hotel close to the airport you have already booked the flight, so they don't care to book a not refundable rate, and also they have a very high cancellation rate for any reason. They lose their flight, there is a strike at the airport. So the idea is in the next queue to test it on the market, but so far all the people we've talked with, they love the idea. The idea is not just an idea, I mean, it is the platform.
Yep, all right, great, thanks. One suggestion and one question. The suggestion is, as you were going through your pitch presentation, as well as the deck that you crafted, I was still wondering, potentially, maybe not as much wondering, but the suggestion would be if you're going into, let's say, hospitality first, stay with hospitality throughout, and because you were kind of going between hospitality and airlines, so I was trying to see, okay, you know, because then I kind of want to know what the addressable market is as well. But the question I have for you is, most modern revenue management systems in the hospitality space have forecasting algorithms for overbooking and no-show. And they incorporate that into their revenue strategy for revenue managers, right? They know, they have an idea, they project potentially how many no-shows, how many then they should overbook. So I'm just kind of wondering, like, if you were trying to pitch that to me as a revenue manager, and that's what I say to you, like, what would be your counter?
I would say 2 points here. I mean, to apply the rules of do overbooking, okay, actually is something very similar to BuyBack, okay, as the final scope, okay, to be able to have one or more asset to be sold again. But first of all, actually in the market, overbooking is not used so much at the end, okay? Maybe big companies, but talking with, I work in the hospitality sector, I talk with hundreds of hotels, and if they can, they prefer to do not apply overbooking because at the end is a pain of the ass, okay? You are taking a big risk, you are risking to damage your loyalty. So this case is an alternative to apply overbooking that actually is much more healthy and riskless, okay? The other question was?
Yeah, so thank you for the answer. I appreciate it. I would definitely suggest in having more conversations with hospitality executives, because if you talk about de-risking overbooking, it's not at the house level, it's more at the room type inventory level. So if I overbook, let's say my standard king size by -10, I have other inventories that can push overbooking of that inventory. So kind of like want to walk through like having conversations with RMS executives and so forth to get a better understanding as to where the product market fit is.
Yeah, no, I can understand it. Consider that it's applying to period with 100% of occupancy, okay? So it's true you can, in theory, play between the different type of rooms, etc. But if you have 100% of occupancy, you have no room to play with the rooms. Welcome.
Any question for you? No.
And I'm gonna one after that.
Yeah, I think I missed the beginning again, how you and your team came together. Can you just in 1 minute say how long you've been together and how you found you?
I met Ivano 5 years ago at TTG of Rimini, the hospitality exhibition in Rimini. He was a client of my company. We started to talk about business. We worked together with another project related to my current work. And then we start to think about ideas. I mean, I've been thinking about ideas that could really work in the travel sector during all these years, but always found barriers. Okay, there was always something that was stopping me to go ahead. Then I got BuyBack idea, and so I say, Ivano, what do you think about this? And he say, cool. Actually, in terms of IT knowledge, I am 0, okay? In terms of Web3, I am 0.01, okay, almost 0. So Ivano is the opposite of me, okay? He is a very good IT guy. He knows a lot of Web3, all this stuff. So we put the resources together and we start to work on BuyBack. So then we ask also to other friends and professionals, Stefano and Andrea, because we needed somebody more strong in terms of business and plans, all this stuff, and in terms of revenue manager. And so,
okay, good,
okay.
Thanks.
I have a question, but I think this is more for Ivano because it's technical. Is it? Yeah. Do you have a microphone for Ivano? Yeah, I know you take. You're gonna have the videos. No worries. You're gonna have the. Yeah, there you go. So the question is, I think it's a question I'm gonna ask often because it's revealing. So if blockchain did not exist, how would you do this? Would you be able to do it? Would you not do it, or maybe find another way? So blockchains do not exist. We all have real jobs and a life, and we want to do this. Could you develop this?
We can do that.
Microphone, please.
Excuse me. We can do that without it. I'm a technician. I'm a programmer.
They cannot do
I'm
this.
A programmer.
Joking. Yeah. Go ahead.
We can do that also without it, blockchain, but we need to develop thousands of integration, connection, and so on. 2 years ago, I discovered Chain for Travel, their project, and I remember this solve all the problem of the travel industry, because we cut 1,000 on API, a method. It is the magic of our work, because, okay, integrate another Optimand, another...
RMS.
Okay, 1 month of work. Integrate another OTI, TUI, Lufthansa. No, this cut this kind of activity. It is the revolution. We can do that, but with many hours, months, years of work. With this, we are integrated the Lamberto idea in 6 months with an ecosystem very large.
Okay, so basically this is very interesting because it shows how blockchain has many properties, and one of the properties is like shared network, data availability, which allows to launch something much faster. So that's very interesting.
We don't take care of the language of Lufthansa.
Right.
We plug in our solution.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you to you.
Thank you very
All
much.
right, thank you very much.